That depends. You can either call me Poro, which is what I go by on Discord, or you could call me by my YouTube name, which is Alton Tasaran. I don't mind either way. That works for me. Mhm. Yeah. I thought the video was pretty good, truth be told. You were an honest man, and I could tell you were being honest. It's one of those things. When it comes to reaction videos, you hear a lot of presumptions, I would say, about how people they're playing up for the camera, they're playing up for the views. Which I'm not saying people don't do, I'm not saying they do. But I got the message that you were being genuine. And I felt like we could have a genuine discussion about this.
I it's not that I don't care about having subscribers. It's just that I want people to understand that I'm not in this for money. So once again,
Mhm.
I had my little thing muted there for a second, so I'm going to restart this. So we're going to have a discussion about Black Lives Matter and the and in a video that I did, which is a reaction video to Adam Calhoun's racism. So it was a rap video that was done by I would say more of a hillbilly rapper type. I would say. Would you say that's more accurate?
He seems to wear it as a badge of honor.
Right. That's why I said I don't want to say something and again I don't agree with a lot that he has to say, but I can still appreciate talent when I hear it. Like
Yeah.
I think that some people have mixed that up. Like some people are so anti BLM to the point where I've heard people say LeBron James sucks at like basketball, and it's like, are you crazy? It's like, listen,
It's
it doesn't matter how much you don't like LeBron James. The motherfucker can play some basketball now. I mean,
That is true.
yeah,
When it comes to a lot of topics like this, and I mentioned this before, how people can get swept up in the energy of it, it's what's the expression I'm looking for? Worked up into a frenzy.
right,
That's what it is.
right,
You
right.
get people who they listen to the reactions, they listen to the media coverage.
Right. So tell me, what is it that you have in particular? I mean, again, I think first of all, why do you think Black Lives Matter was formed?
I looked at it briefly before I joined the server, and it was formed, from what it said anyway, it was formed due to the issues with what happened with the Hans Zimmerman case, if I remember correctly.
Right.
And over here in the UK, we actually don't know. Like, no one actually told us why BLM was formed. BLM was this thing that just popped up out of nowhere one day. And everyone
Right.
was just like, oh, okay. And then they sort of went along with it. And then, of course, all the press coverage came out of a lot of the things that BLM was doing that a lot of people perceived as good. But then the media shifted to a lot more of the negative aspects of it. And a lot more people tended to latch on more to the negative aspects of it.
Right. So can you tell me exactly what is it that you in particular have an issue with in terms of BLM?
That's a bit. Hmm. Let me collect my thoughts on this very quickly.
I mean, I
I
can
gotta
I
admit, I
can
gotta
I
look
can I
about
can
it.
tell you the problems that I have with them as the organization.
Yeah,
Uh,
let's start with that. Let's
okay,
start with that.
well, some of the issues that I have is that sometimes they can sometimes uh, overheat a kettle. You ever heard of that particular saying?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
they
yeah,
can
yeah.
they can overdo it. The other thing is that they are extremely manipulative. But that's to their credit, because in this type of arena, it doesn't come down to who is superior in terms of numbers and equipment, all the rest of that stuff. It comes down to who could be the most influential. The other thing that I've noticed is that if you go to their particular website, they've taken a lot of focus away from men, and they've made it solely about women for a lot. And I get that to a certain extent. I had to kind of expect that because it was started by 3 black women. It was started by 3 black men. So I mean, those are the issues that I have with them personally. And one other issue is that many of them tend to latch on to Democrats way too hard, and I don't particularly like that because if you watch my channel, my criticism is not focused. I go after everybody. I don't fucking like politicians whatsoever. You know, I think that many of them have unfortunately become bootlickers. And the problem is that when you're talking about police reform, you can't be a bootlicker too. It's kind of like an oxymoron, right?
Yeah. Actually, here's a good question. Well, here's what I think is a good question. How has the message of BLM changed, like, as it's gone along?
Has it changed? Well, first of all, it was about uniting, black people into a united struggle. But then, over time, I think what happened was, as you got more people that were joining, they were saying, "What about me? What about me? What about me?" And then it became something more.
What about my interests?
Right. So I mean, that's why you started getting. And again, I don't have an issue with black LGBT people. I fully support them. I think that they actually need a lot of freaking support. But you started getting pooling interests. You get so many different interests they're just coming in, and that's the thing. So when you look at the story of Judas and the Black Messiah, if you've never seen that movie, go see it. It's a freaking masterpiece. It actually shows how the Black Panther Party was actually locking hand in hand with a lot of racists, a lot of people from all over the freaking spectrum to rise against the freaking government. And so when you look at many people who are just jumping at BLM and people who are just so diehard BLM, I think I'm instantly reminded of Judas and the Black Messiah, in which people are at each other's throats and people have forgotten the main goal here. Do you think that's possible?
That's possible with anything, really. Like, anyone can start a goal. Let's take the example of BLM with what you said, which was to unite black people in their struggle. And then you had all these different people who were pooling their different interests. And then the message gets not diluted. What's the word I'm looking for?
The message
warped almost.
Yes. Well. Here's the thing. BLM was effective, and that's why it was infiltrated. You don't infiltrate something that's ineffective. You will notice that with if you look at Occupy Wall Street, they were infiltrated. And you look at the Black Panther Party, they were infiltrated. You look at Martin Luther King, his freaking movement was freaking infiltrated. You look at it over and over and over again, and each of these movements became something that they weren't really originally attended before. But I don't have a problem saying Black Lives Matter because I understand what it was originally intended for. If you got people in this country who have no issue carrying around a Confederate flag saying, "Hey, it's my heritage," then why do they have the issue with me saying Black Lives Matter when the memory of Black Lives Matter is more recent? You see what I mean?
To me, I see what you mean. To me, just the fact of saying Black Lives Matter, there's nothing wrong with that. That to me is common sense.
I mean, if you go on my Facebook page, right, you'll see me in search that says All Lives Matter. No one ever asks me how do I feel about All Lives Matter. They assume because I say Black Lives Matter, I just hate white people. They just like assume that. But I'm in pictures with shirts that says All Lives Matter.
That to me doesn't make any sense. Like I said, Black Lives Matter is just common sense. Right.
But again, I think some people have taken their hardcore hatred and it's blinded them so badly. Like, I'll give you a prime example, right? Look at Colin Kaepernick. What exactly did he do wrong to deserve to lose his damn job?
I'm not fully aware of this. Like I said, I'm a British person, so right. There's going to be a lot of this here. So inform me what exactly happened.
So Colin Kaepernick, you have to know about this if you're going to talk about like BLM. It's one of the biggest hot button issues in BLM of all time. Like it is. As soon as if you were to come to America and you mention Colin Kaepernick, you're going to get one of two reactions: either extreme support or extreme hatred. It's one or the other. That
Was
guy.
this,
There is no middle ground.
was this a story of that
Yeah, I
one
know.
athlete who took a knee during
Yeah.
the
He was
during the
he was
national
he
anthem?
was he
Oh,
was
I've
taking a
heard.
knee.
Yeah, I'm aware of that. Yeah,
Yeah, he was.
I'm aware of that.
Yeah. It was the problem with All Lives Matter, right? The problem with
Mm-hmm.
and that's Bomber Fox here said in the live chat here. The problem with All Lives Matter is that it was disingenuous. You will notice that
Mm-hmm.
whenever black people, and this is just something that I've noticed, and I can give you multiple examples of it, that whenever black people in America come up with a particular movement, you'll have people on the right who will then like take the saying of that movement and then add it to their own. Like for example, the Million MAGA March. You know what the Million Man March, what that symbolizes? Civil rights era.
Mm-hmm.
So why would you call it the freaking Million MAGA March with freaking Confederate flags? You understand how that's gonna look to any freaking black person? It's gonna look horrible, and they did it anyways. And so you look at like All Lives Matter, Blue Lives Matter. It's like, okay, why y'all making all these lives matter when Black Lives Matter was the first? So you're doing this as a reaction to Black Lives Matter, and then people have the nerve to wonder why they're calling All Lives Matter and everybody else racist. Well, it's because you keep reacting to black people. It's just like at some point, it's like you call it a Million MAGA March, Blue Lives Matter, All Lives Matter, White Lives Matter. When we came up with Juneteenth, Trump tried to actually have some crazy shit on damn Juneteenth, which is when the last states ratified, the actual amendment that freed us. So it's like, again, you got so many landmark dates in American history and so many landmark names in American history that people on the right will take and try to appropriate to their for their own particular causes. And all that does is it takes a movement like Black Lives Matter that was already racially charged to begin with and make them even more freaking defensive.
They do always say imitation is the finest form of flattery, and with any popular movement, there's going to be copycats, and there's also going to be people who take a similar approach. They use similar messages and such, and there are going to be people who oppose said movement and who are going to use the same tactics to try and get the same results in opposition of the original message, or the original movement, sorry.
That is definitely true. I think the main difference though here is that when you have, it's very rare that you have a type of mimicking type of movement where people are copying another movement, movement's actions and intentions, and that movement was linked to something that is so ingrained in American history. Now, do you want to understand the reason why Black Lives Matter could exist? Is there anything that you want to know about the movement in particular?
Everything, honestly. That's
Everything.
one of the reasons I originally reached out, because you claim it said in the video titles that you are pro BLM. Right. Well, if you're pro BLM, you're going to know more about it than someone who is potentially anti BLM, right, or someone who doesn't really care much about BLM to begin with.
Right. Well, what I'm not your typical BLM guy. I'm more of a right-leaning type. So basically, I'm more of your Black Panther type. That's why I open carrying videos. That's why I have certain opinions. I am more center left than I am center right now. I would say, like most people would probably put me, but I'll let you know, in 2016 I voted for damn Trump. So I'm not as left leaning as you might think I am. But again, I'm one of the bridges, basically. I'm the one guy that can make a conversation happen between the left and the right, because I'm somewhat in the middle. I'm like a radical centrist. So basically, but when it comes to Black Lives Matter, the movement itself is not really the movement that you see now. Black Lives Matter was a culmination of many, many things. See, when people look at movements like Black Lives Matter and Defund the Police and Antifa, they tend to want to start off at the middle or the ending, but never from the beginning. Now, if they are revolting against the police, well, why would black people be revolting against the police? Well, let me give you a little bit of history in American history. You see, back during slavery, we were treated as property. And when your property goes missing or runs away, who do you call?
The cops.
That's why they were literally the slave patrol, and so that anger has carried over throughout the years, and then we went from that into Reconstruction era, which is they were reconstructing the southern states into non-slavery states. That's why they call it Reconstruction. So you can imagine those newly broke slave owners who were pretty angry, and those became the freaking Ku Klux Klan, the remnants of the Confederacy, and we went from that into the Civil Rights era, went from that into what we have now. So now you can see why you can already see why there's so much distrust between black people and the police. Now, if you were to look at some of the things that happen in between there, when you look at things like, for example, our Constitution, well, back during Reconstruction, the southern states, they understood that once black people were free, they would eventually get the right to vote. And they complained about this. Mm-hmm. So the way that they ratified this was they made black people 3/5 of a goddamn person in order to allow southern whites to vote on a more equal footing than us. So when people in the modern day talk about voting rights, there's your context. Mm-hmm. They literally called us 3/5 of a goddamn person to make racists happy, so that when we eventually gained the right to vote, they could not feel so bad about it. So that's the history of voting rights. So when you get people now who are saying, black people are being discriminated against, it's not that hard to believe, because at one point you called me 3/5 of a goddamn person. so that was called the 3/5 the 3/5 compromise. And many people don't know about this, but if you look it up, you'll see it. Now, there's other context behind why BLM exists. Yeah. Now, you may say BLM, everywhere that they go, there's riots, there's looting, there's chaos. There's a reason for that. The reason for that is that there's a great lie that's being told, and the great lie is that Martin Luther King, his nonviolent protest is what changed things. No, it wasn't. I totally respect him, but it wasn't that changed things. It was the violent protest that came after his death that changed things. Mm-hmm. So you see, if the only thing that's ever been effective is violence and rioting, and if every time someone tries to peacefully protest and try to tell you what a problem is, and you do nothing, and instead what you get is bootlickers, do you understand what that's encouraging people to do?
Continue with the bootlicking.
Yeah, it's
never take their lives into their own hands, from the sounds of it.
Yeah, it's just. I'll give you a prime example, right? Did you ever hear about Chaz or Chop?
Yes, I have. The Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone.
Yes, let me tell you the backstory behind that. I see you were just
very quickly, because you brought up how it was the violence after MLK's assassination that ultimately led to the change.
Yes.
Or at least propelled the change forward. Have you seen the film Starship Troopers? Like the old film Starship Troopers?
I have.
Do you remember close to the beginning in Ratchek's class where he's talking to the students, and he said,
the guy with one arm?
Yeah, and how he said all forms of authority are derived from violence, which is the pinnacle of authority.
Well, that is unfortunately, that is, in some cases that's what it is. I think kindness can be too, but I think that it just comes and goes. Like basically when it comes to change, there is no ultimate violence or ultimate peace. It just ebbs and flows. I think that it's completely situational, but in a lot of cases you're absolutely right. So unfortunately,
when it comes to violence as well. When it comes to violence as well, violence has a way of getting a message across very directly. But as time passes, the consequences of that violence fade. They become distant memories. They don't have the same impact as that violence did originally.
It depends on the level of damage, though, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. Well, they do say time erodes all things.
That's true. I guess and I want you to notice, right? Notice how I never said that it was right. I never said that it was right. I'm just saying that's what it is. But again, as soon as I say that, right, someone's going to interpret that as me saying that rioting and looting is okay. If I simply say like mind you, I'm a combat veteran, right? So if I simply said, hey, you showing up to Afghanistan, you know, and you saying something that is pro-Christian is gonna get you killed. Is that me saying that it is right? No, that's just me explaining to you what's gonna happen. I don't get why is it that when I say things like that, so many people interpret that as me saying that it's okay.
Because in topics like this, they get so charged, they get so energized, where no matter how careful you are with your words, there are going to be people who are going to latch on to one thing you say and take that as your whole stance.
Right, and that's the most unfortunate part about it. So now let me give you a little backstory about Chaz. So here's the part of the story that the bootlickers didn't tell you. So we have 3 branches of government. You have your executive, legislative, and judicial. Now they have those same branches in every state, but the federal government is the ultimate authority on that. Now, in Seattle, that's where Chaz. That's in Washington State. So you have Washington D.C., which is on the East Coast, and you have Washington State, which is on the West Coast. It's like right above California. Okay. So they were given a federal consent decree in 2010 because they kept abusing people from a federal judge, which is the highest court you can go to outside of the freaking Supreme Court. You can't go any higher. Meaning, if a federal judge tell you do something, that's like the second to highest authority that you can go. And so for 10 years, they remained out of compliance. They would do things like shoot Native Americans who were wood carvers, who were basically carpenters, and kill them for no reason. They would do things like kick juveniles in the groin, juvenile kids, for no reason. They would literally beat up and beat down Hispanic people and shout out, "I will beat the Mexican piss out of you," as they're beating them down. White dude. They had one officer kick out a woman's eye so hard that he literally broke her orbital socket, meaning her eye was hanging out of her fucking head. That guy got his damn job back. They remain out of compliance. This just happened. I'm gonna give you a link. There's actually something called the timeline of accountability. It is from the ACLU, and they actually link all the court documents. That's the best part about it. It's crazy. So let me look up real quick. ACLU.
Because you mentioned the year 2010, which is not that long ago.
Right. But this actually continued into now. So recently, they've had 6 officers who went down to the U.S. Capitol to fucking riot. So that adds on top of that. It's just, listen, that police department was actually placed under a federal consent decree. Now, let me give you the mathematical reason why that's fucking insane. The reason why that's fucking insane is because there's over 19,000 cities in America. That is one of only 20 cities under a federal consent decree. You understand mathematically that it's literally impossible to say that they aren't bad, because it's mathematically impossible for them to not be bad. So that's why CHOP happened. But see, you notice that the bootlickers never told you that, right? They never told you that part. Right?
Honestly, this is the first time I've heard about it. And I paid attention when it was first formed from the American media, and we also heard about it over here from the British media. This is genuinely the first time I've heard about this.
Okay.
At all.
Give me a second. Let me. My friend Sky is asking which Discord I'm in. I'm in my new Discord, Sky. Let me give you a link real quick. Let me post it in the chat. But listen. I want to tell you, man. There's a lot of things that happens in this country that people don't tell you about. They don't tell you about this stuff, and there's a reason for that. Because there's an official narrative, and they want to stick to that official narrative, and they want to keep people dumb, to what's actually happening. Because if you actually discuss the issues, you'd realize that while Black Lives Matter has their issues, and trust me, I have my issues with trusting some of them sometimes. That doesn't make them wrong. about a lot of issues that they actually talk about. And that's the issue with Black Lives Matter. They just don't stick to the issues in which they are talking about. I'm going to post a link to my Discord in the chat here because I've got a few people asking about what's the link to the chat. But my thing is, it's just I want to know what is it that you've been told about BLM?
Truth be told, when it comes to BLM, I stopped paying attention after a little while because a lot of the media was covering the marches across the freeways. The videos that were being posted were of the marches through the cities, chanting. What was the chant that they were saying?
Pigs.
What do we want? A blanket, frying like bacon. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll admit, I didn't pay too much attention to it. But when you have, from what the video showed, a good amount of people walking down the street yelling that, and this is coming from an informed perspective, so no context, it really does give you a very bad idea of what these people are about.
Right.
And a lot of it gets swept under the rug. A lot of it gets distorted.
Right, though. But you're absolutely right.
And
I can't overlook that. You're absolutely right.
It genuinely bugs me because I've said for quite a few years now, I don't trust the media as far as I can throw them. I don't watch the news because I don't trust them.
Right.
So I'm a little.
I don't like op-eds for that reason.
By the way, that's some Sky. He's my roommate from combat, actually. So.
No, I mean, I don't like op-eds. They're just annoying.
So the thing about it is that that actually brings up a very good point. By the way, post a link to your channel in the live chat, man. But my thing is that I think the problem is that people look at the end result of movements, the end result of certain things, and they judge the whole movement based on reactions and not the reason why the movement even existed. So I think that, like, for example, when you have a feminist movement filled with a bunch of angry women, well, maybe there wouldn't be so many angry women if women weren't getting shit on so fucking often. Maybe that's the case, you know. Maybe there are some women who just genuinely hate men, and I know that they are. I've met women like that. I've married women like that. Okay, I know that. Oof. But there could be genuine anger. There could be genuine hurt there, you know. And I just don't want to look at the end result of someone and just judge their whole life based on that, you know.
You know, anger in that case, you know, anger is subjective, right?
Right.
You know, you say, I'm angry for this reason, I'm angry for that reason. You know, for regardless of what your sex is, hating somebody just because of something that they can't control is
stupid.
It's not ideal. It's certainly not a good thing. You know,
speaking that up, when it comes to when it comes to feminism and stuff, is it just me, or does the media end up focusing so much on the negatives?
Yeah, they focus on what sells.
It does seem like they focus a lot on like negatives, and I think that just this side of YouTube in particular, man, they've really haven't given the feminist movement a lot of charity. And I gotta be honest with you, like I used to be a part of fucking problem, man. Like I used to, every other video was like, you know, feminism is doo-doo, feminism is doo-doo, feminism is doo-doo. And it's like, it got to the point where it's like, I'm tired of making this damn content. I want to make something different, man. Like I don't want to keep telling you how feminists are dumb. We know that. We fucking know. Like there's nothing you can say about that, man. But it's like,
I just remembered this as well. I've heard a lot of arguments, and I've seen a good amount of videos and such of people who have brought up points against people who claim to be feminists or male feminists, and then you have another feminist or another male feminist whose either instant reply or later on reply is, that's not real feminism. They're not a real feminist. And I'm just like, well, what is? Who is?
Yeah, that is.
You know, I'm not entirely sure there's a definitive organization that says that this is what feminism is and that's it, because you know the thing is that feminists, you know, different kinds of feminists or whatever, they'll bring up different points you know, you go from one person to another, and it's completely different. You know, like what you were saying. So, like, I'm not really sure that there really is one specific point of feminism. Maybe instead of just classifying, you know, all feminism as just one thing, you could say, you know, this point of feminism is all right. You know, like, yeah, women should be allowed to vote. They are allowed to vote.
Right.
You know,
That should be a given.
you can throw it away. Thanks. No.
Right. So I'm actually just in the background looking up Chanty Binks. So tell me,
Yeah.
Poro, I'm very curious. When I told you about what I told you about Seattle, right?
Hmm.
Does that change your perspective of what happened in terms of Chaz?
When Chaz / Chop first started happening, the first news we overheard around here was a group of people basically took over. They literally used the words "took over part of the city," and they were essentially autonomizing it. Like, this is our area, you guys aren't allowed in here, yada yada yada.
Right.
And then the videos started coming out of all these statistics, and they were all negative. Like, I think it was the 2 people or the kids who got shot, and the medical personnel tried to get in there, but the security forces of Chaz / Chop weren't allowing them to get in.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, that was one of the videos, and that was one of the stories.
Yeah.
And then you had a bunch of stories coming out about all these sexual assaults that were happening over there.
Right.
And it got to the point where all the stories you heard about it were so negative, anything else that could have been positive about it, the original meaning behind it, just got swept under the rug.
Right.
Yeah.
Well. If you look at the stream, what I have on the stream, because I want to give you the proper context, right? The reason why that happened.
Yeah.
If you look at the Second Amendment, our Second Amendment, what do you think that was intended for?
That's the right to bear arms, correctly? The Second Amendment.
But why do you think we have the right to bear arms?
I've heard different views about it, and the one
Let's
I
explain
agree with
the
the most is the one that gives the citizens the right to defend themselves, to defend their property. And from what I've heard about it, a lot of people believe that this is also to defend them from a tyrannical government, essentially, as well.
I mean, it's actually in the amendment. It says it.
Yes, it's almost exclusively, again, you can use it to defend yourself, but the reason why is so that we could have a militia to defend you against a tyrannical government. That's how it's historically been used, especially by civil rights movement, by Black Panther Party, by feminists actually, and it's something. It's a long standing tradition. I mean, people think that it's about hunting, that kind of stuff. No, it's about the government. So when it gets to the point that the government is being tyrannical, where you have went to the federal government, you got a federal consent decree, and yet the police department is still not following it, you've done everything possible. That, again, once you go federal, you can't go any higher.
Mm-hmm.
What do you expect to happen as a response to that?
People are going to use their right to defend themselves from a tyrannical government.
Well,
Yeah,
I wouldn't say that. I would say you would get at that point anarchy. Once you have demonstrated that you lack the power to rule, well, then the people are going to rule. That's how it's always been.
Mm-hmm.
So what I want to show you is what it took to create CHOP. So let's just go over this. It's a long list though, but it's an actual crazy list. The more that you hear about this, the crazier it's gonna get. So on Friday, December 3rd, 2010, there's a 35 community organizations sent a letter to the DOJ and the U.S. Attorney asking them to please help them with the Seattle Police Department because they shot a Native American carpenter for no reason. They kicked and beat up a black teenager for no reason, and they decided to beat up a Mexican man and said that they would beat the Mexican piss out of him for no reason. Then the DOJ decided to intervene and found that there's a, quote, pattern of practice of constitutional violations regarding the use of force that result from structural problems as well as serious concerns about biased policing, end quote. And they have a court document link there. And then you go down here, Friday, July 27, 2012, they enter a consent decree, meaning you are not asked anymore. You're told to change at that point. Now, as you scroll down this list, you look at all these fucking incidents. This is just additional incidents. They have not been in compliance with the fucking consent decree, not even once. And June 3rd, 2020, because they've been so bad, right? Right?
Mm-hmm.
No. June 1st, 2020. The Seattle Office of Police Accountability reports receiving 12,000 complaints about the Seattle Police Department's handling of the weekend demonstrations. 12,000 complaints when you're already under a fucking consent decree. What the fuck else do you want these people to do? Jesus. And then you had 6 officers who went down to the U.S. Capitol, the damn riot. That means that they are number 2 in the whole nation for the most officers who went down to the U.S. Capitol, the goddamn riot. God damn.
I'm just having a read of the Seattle Office of Police Accountability document. That's for June 1st.
Yeah.
I'm just having a read of it here. Let's see here. Pepper spraying a young girl Saturday, punching a person on the ground who was being arrested Friday, placing a knee on the neck area of 2 people who had been arrested on Saturday. Wait, covering up badge numbers. What?
Yeah. They were literally on camera doing that. Yeah.
Failing to record law enforcement activity.
Unless you're covering up your face, that doesn't make any sense.
Pepper spraying peaceful protesters. The use of flashbangs, including causing a significant thumb injury, failing to secure rifles in the rear of a patrol vehicle, punching a person on the ground.
Pause. Wait. Me and Sky are about to fucking rage out. You mean tell me they had unsecured weapons?
According to this document, it says here, number 8 out of 10, failing to secure rifles in the rear of a patrol vehicle Saturday, 2020 OPA-0329.
Let me ask you a question. We were both in the service, right, Sky? What would happen to you if your weapon was unsecured and your first sergeant found out about that? What would happen to your entire military goddamn career if they found out about that?
No, well, not the entire thing. Really, AR-15.
Yeah, if you were caught, let's say during combat, you were caught leaving your weapon unsecured, what would happen to you?
Field grade.
Yeah, field grade, automatic field grade. Reduction in rank for 6 months. You're doing extra duty. It's gonna fucking suck.
6 months.
6 months, and that's if they're feeling nice about it, because they can keep you under field grade conditions for up to 2 years. For up to 2 years. Yeah. So you mean tell me this is in 2020?
Yeah, this is the 1st of June. If you click on where it says June 1st, the press release following demonstrations.
Mind you, I had made a whole video about this, and I had missed that part. If I had seen that part, I would have raged the fuck out. Because most combat veterans, we're crazy about that shit. We hate it when you leave your weapons unsecured. That's just what it is. Wow.
Let me see if I can bring this up real quick. Let me see if you can see this. I've just started sharing my screen, and it's right there if you're able to see it.
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, there it is. Number 8, failing to secure rifles in the rear of a patrol vehicle.
That is fucking crazy, man. That is fucking crazy.
So,
wow.
This is really interesting. Okay. There is... I want to see if I can actually pull this up. Oh. Never mind.
Oh, do you want me to bring it back up?
No, you're good. It
is something that... the other thing I'm very interested in is that, some people have criticized me, even from like the BLM movement, because I've criticized some of their chiefs of police in Seattle, and they're like, you criticize the people of color, and it's like, just making the police chief darker doesn't fix the goddamn problem, man. It's not fixing the problem.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. They just make the freaking police chief like Hispanic or freaking black, and it's like Barack Obama was fucking black too, and we were still drone striking goddamn black and fucking brown people. So it's like that doesn't change anything, It doesn't fix shit. So now you're starting to get why Chaz happened, right? It got to the point whereas if your police officers are this bad, what do you expect?
Honestly, looking through this and seeing the timeline that you've provided, I'm amazed it did not happen sooner.
So again, you were more anti-BLM, but now You're not saying that violence is okay. You've never said that, but now you're seeing why it
No.
does happen though.
Violence is a tool to an end. That's the way I've always seen it.
Yeah, this shit is crazy, isn't it? Do you think that people?
I wish they would have put this on the news. I would have paid attention.
Well,
I would have paid attention more.
I was one of the few journalists.
Strange.
I was one of the few journalists who was raising hell about it, and nobody wanted to listen, and everyone just called me like a freaking cop hater, and it's like, well, if you're gonna keep saying that about me just because I'm telling you the truth, then I'm gonna become a freaking cop hater. You know?
That's what the definition of it is. You know what I thought was it's just really kind of bizarre. You know, being in the military, seeing what kind of accountability we had in the military, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is shit. I was trying to find an article, but you know, otherwise it's just a personal anecdote. So I'm sorry, but you know, there was you know, one of my friends up here in Washington, he had one of his battle buddies go to Leavenworth for the rest of his life because he shot a flare pin, right, to warn somebody to stay away from a convoy. It actually went into the car and killed everybody inside, completely by accident. But now he has to spend the rest of his life at Fort Leavenworth.
For involuntary manslaughter.
You know, whereas, you know, if he was a cop, wouldn't happen.
Right, and I think that's the thing that's like so weird about it. Like why is it that there appears to be like no accountability about it? You know. But the other question that I want to ask you guys, just both of you, why do you think so many people oppose Black Lives Matter as a concept?
Because of the media portrayal, where they think Black Lives Matter is going around breaking shit. Like, I even think, like, somebody said that. Hudstad said, "What a dummy, looting and rioting accomplishes nothing." Well, sure it does. It creates civil unrest. That's exactly what it accomplishes. But for the most part, unless you actually go out to these protests, for the most part, I mean, you'll see you'll see all these people sitting, and it'll be black people, white people, Mexicans, all kinds of people.
What's the track record?
You know, you'll see them, you know, actually peacefully protesting, like peaceful, kid involved shouting. You know, I'm talking about like non-violent protesting, right? Mm-hmm. So, you know, when it gets down to it, you know, there may be some kind of tension there, right? But by and large, for the most part, they're not doing anything like other than shouting and holding up signs and chanting. And
what does this accomplish? What does rioting and protesting accomplish?
Well,
civil unrest.
So the thing about it is that a lot of people ask that question. So I think that people ask all the time, like, what does rioting and protesting accomplish? Well, the thing about it is that it just gets your attention. It does. It's not meant to change anything because it can't write legislation. It's just meant to get your attention because some people are just so oblivious as the problems that happen in this country. Like, you got some people who live directly next to homeless people and have no fucking clue. No fucking clue. You know. So I guess that it's just meant to get your attention, but I'm very interested to hearing what you think, Pearl. What do you think is the general perception of Black Lives Matter in the UK in terms of how you guys see it or how you've seen other people see it?
In the UK, we actually haven't heard about BLM for quite a while. Actually, we heard about it for, I think, a period of a couple of months because they ran quite a few protests down in London. There was quite a few protests with them down in London. And if I remember correctly, I may be wrong here, so don't quote me on this. But if I remember correctly, it was a response to a lot of these protests, or just before it, that the affirmative action stuff started coming in. Or it was just before that, I don't remember. Right. And a lot of people tried to spin it, and I actually had a discussion with one of my college professors about this, because she was for affirmative action. And she probably described it as one of the worst things I have ever heard, truth be told.
What, affirmative action or BLM?
Affirmative action.
Okay.
Give me a moment, I'm trying to remember. What exactly did she call it? Positive discrimination. That was it. She called it positive discrimination.
Yes, I've heard that term before. It's so.
Yeah, she called it positive discrimination, and
that's the
when
worst
I
way to
first
put
heard
it, man. Oh Jesus, that's the worst way to
Is that,
put
is that the same thing as anti-racism? Is that what it is?
she caught me
reverse
so off
racism.
guard.
Reverse racism. That's what it is.
She caught me
Oh,
so
my
off guard. I was legit silent because I didn't know what
Can I
to
say
say.
something like real quick? Black people can be some of the most racist assholes out there. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. If again, you guys can't say that, I'll say it for you. Listen, black folk, we gotta stop with this bullshit of power plus privilege. Suck my dick with that shit. Some of y'all are fucking racist as fuck, okay? Some of y'all act like assholes. Let's be honest. I see them every goddamn day. All right, I've seen black people talk shit to fucking Native goddamn Americans. How fucking dare you? You are living on their land, you asshole. All right, have some goddamn respect. All right, so let's go ahead and get that shit out of the goddamn way. All right, black people can be fucking racist. Absolutely.
There may be some evidence that Native Americans were here first,
but it don't matter. We definitely were not here first. We got to shut the whole.
Oh shit! No.
Okay.
I mean, I'm part Native, but you know.
Yeah, like I try my best to never talk shit to the fucking Native man. I just don't feel comfortable doing it. You know, I just gotta be honest with you.
I mean, the very fact they're called Native Americans, you'd imagine it would be fucking obvious.
Yeah. So, but the thing about it is that so I am curious though. So, what has been the media perception of Black Lives Matter in terms of a lot of the movements that happen here in America, and does it does the stuff that happens here kind of like translate over into your country? As in, does it start like a freaking virus and spreads to your country?
See, originally there was a lot of worry that it would, but Black Lives Matter has sort of fallen off here in the UK because I haven't heard about it much, and nor have I heard any of the news reporting on it.
I thought you.
But then again, I don't watch the news, but my family does. So I sometimes walk by and I'll catch them and I'll just be like, "What the bloody hell are you watching?"
Okay. And
one of the things I have noticed over here in England, England tries to be as inclusive as it bloody can. England itself will bend over backwards to try and accommodate to everybody.
Right. I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions. I got so upset when someone called the British racist. It's like, that is the least racist. Are you out of your fucking mind? That's like calling the fucking Canadians racist. No.
Someone tried to call me racist once, and I remember my reply to them. I wish I had said it to them, but I didn't. I wish I had. And the thing was, he called me racist, and I just looked at him, or I wanted to say this to him, and I would have gone, yes, to a certain extent I am. I prefer black women to white women, because I was dating a black woman at the time.
Yeah, man.
I mean,
yeah. That's my thing is though. Is just like when you look at British culture or even like Canadian culture or a lot of cultures that I would consider more Europeanish than more Americanish, because there's a big difference between America and Europe. Okay, there's a big difference. All right, and
what's up?
And I just think that when people look at the difference between how people see things and how people do things, it's just very, very bizarre, right? Very, very bizarre how sometimes some things that happen here translates into your country, and I want to say that I apologize for that, and I hope that we're not causing too much problems over there.
Actually, this brings up an interesting thing, because England does try to bend over backwards for pretty much everyone to try and be inclusive. I live in a very particular part of England that whenever I talk about it to Americans or people who don't know much about England, their first reaction is always, I'm sorry, you live where? Because I live in the Black Country.
Ooh, where?
It's called the Black Country.
The Black.
I mean,
whoa, yeah, you're definitely right, yeah. Because my first reaction is like the where?
Yeah, the Black Country. And I'm gonna show you a picture of the Black Country flag, because the people actually have a flag for the Black Country.
Really?
Yeah. And one of the MPs for the Black Country got in trouble for it. And she didn't get in trouble for the flag, sorry. She got in trouble for her response to the flag because she said it made her uncomfortable, and then it brought back memories of slavery and such. And this...
Wait, what?
Yeah. Yeah, that is what you said. If I quickly just bring it up,
That's
if I quickly just bring it up, that's the flag of the Black Country
okay,
with the black, the white, and the red in the chain.
All right, let me go ahead and check it out real quick. Give me a second. Let me watch stream. Okay, there we go.
Yeah, that's the flag of the Black Country. Like this.
Really?
So was she claiming to be a slave at one point? Is that like she actually had memories, like proper
No.
memories of that shit, or she was just like?
If she was from that period, I want to know where her fountain of youth is.
Oh,
I want to know where that youth potion
that'd be
is.
cool. Yeah, seriously.
She said that the chains on the flag, if I remember correctly, it was specifically the chains on the flag that were making her uncomfortable. But this is a misconception, because if you know anything about the Black Country, during the Industrial Revolution, it was a very heavily industrial.
I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I thought you were trolling. I
No, I'm being serious.
It's actually a legit country. What
You live here.
What the fuck? What is this
the reason,
place?
if I remember correctly, it's a legitimate place. I'm not joking.
That is wow, bro. I thought I was as high as shit. I ain't gonna.
Nope.
Well, I mean, you might be. You know.
I definitely am.
The reason it was called the Black Country was during the Industrial Revolution and such, there were so many factories producing the large metallic chains. You know, those massive ship chains.
Right.
Yeah.
They were producing those for the canal boats, and there was so many factories pumping out pollution and smog into the air that even during the daytime, the sky was basically pitch black. And that's why the colors are red, white, and black, because the sky was so black due to all the population. There was always fire raging in the sky from all the fires from the furnaces and the smelteries and the factories. And the chains were our main export, so that's why the chain is there.
Right. So I'm just having a hard. Wow, I've never even heard this place. Like what? I never even heard of this place. That is wild, man. That is interesting. I gotta say,
Yeah, but this is the sort of thing we had to deal with. And when she brought it up, she got so much backlash from pretty much all the other MPs. I don't remember exactly what one of the MPs said to her, but to basically paraphrase it was, if you feel offended or if you feel threatened by this, you don't know our history.
Wow.
Like, just flat, you don't know our history.
I mean, that would stand a reason.
We even have our own celebration day, believe it or not, in the Black Country.
Oh, by the way, guys, some people have asked me about this new patch I got on my hat. It's from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It's called Cowabunga. It is. If somebody wants to get rowdy, Cowabunga it is.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
All right, so tell me, what is it that?
How old are you?
Go ahead.
Me?
Yeah.
25.
25.
Oh. Is it? I mean, shit. I barely remember watching Teenage Mutant Turtles when I was like 3 or 4.
Mate, I remember watching fucking Digimon when that first came out.
Okay, well, I'm 33, so I didn't get to watch Digimon.
Also,
Digimon.
I want to thank one of the subscribers who decided to when I said I was gonna buy a new laser sight, they decided to give me super chats to go and buy it. So if you're gonna give me super chats, I'm gonna show it to you. So a new laser sight I got for my CZP07. It's pretty accurate. I took it to the range the other day. Thank you guys for getting that for me, essentially. And I got the best subscribers in the whole world. So
the perception of Black Lives Matter here in the UK has sort of fallen off, to get back to the original point.
Right.
Has sort of fallen off. They tried, like they genuinely tried, but they couldn't find as much purchase here in England and the UK that they could find in America.
Why do you think
there wasn't that much to... If I'm being honest, because I live in the Black Country and such, to me it's I don't know, truth be told. There wasn't that much to grab hold to, because whenever I've entered into conversations about this, where people have tried to say England is a racist country or the English are racist people, my first response has always been, no, we're not, and no, it isn't. We're a classist country. There's a very big difference between a racist country and a black
because
classist
they
country.
when you think of England, you think of royalty, and royalty doesn't care if you're black, white, green, purple. They don't care. They just care about you being a fucking serf. That's all they care about. They just put you like beneath them. Yeah.
That's true not just for the royalty. That's true for anywhere you live in England. Like if I were to go to London and speak to a Londoner, we would speak a completely different dialect of English, and they would speak more of the proper Queen's English, whereas I speak more of the the peasant's pidgin English, as it's called.
So I'm very, very curious. Do you?
I was just gonna say that's fucking wild. Okay,
that is.
But we have that kind of thing here in the States as well. I believe it's called Southern, not Southern. No, I mean there's different dialects here as well.
But you go to somewhere like Mississippi or like Louisiana, and you hear some of those trailer parts,
even different parts of Massachusetts, for example. Like you can go from one city in Massachusetts to another, and it's a wholly different dialect. Like they'll have a complete different accent and everything. Yeah, like it's crazy.
Or if you go to like South Carolina, even amongst like the black population, you have various dialects there. It's fucking crazy. Like you'll hear people who sounds more like me, and then when you go down to like Charleston, they have this thick Gullah Geechee accent that if you don't listen hard, you can't really understand them. Like it's crazy. It's crazy how that shit happens in like the same area.
I think it's really cool.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
No, because and nothing against Londoners. It's just at that point they're not talking down to you. It's simply based off of what they've been speaking their entire lives.
I gotta ask you a question since you are in the UK. What is it with this bruv shit? This bruv.
I have no clue, truth be told.
It's slang. We have a lot of slang here. I use the word y'all.
Yeah, I mean, it is slang, but I remember when I was in secondary school, which is essentially the American equivalent of high school. The British equivalent of high school, sorry.
Yeah, and I remember it's secondary school.
Yeah, I walked in one day, and as I was going to my homeroom, I had my friend Josh, who just walks up to me, and out of nowhere, he just starts talking, and every other word out of his mouth is either bruv, blood, or standard, as he called it. That's how he pronounced it. He's like, "You're being standard, bruv," and I'm just like, "What the fuck are you saying?"
Yeah,
I was the nerdy kid at school, so I'm there listening to him, and I'm just like, I have no idea what the hell you're saying to me, mate.
You're like, are you having a stroke?
What is this devil tongue you speak?
Are you okay? Do you need me to call somebody?
Like language at my school.
You mean call 999 or whatever it is? I don't know what it is.
Language in my school changed on the daily, quite literally. We would hear one slang word being repeated all day for one day, and then the next day it was just gone.
Damn.
And we never said it again.
I got a funny confession to make. So when I went to the UK, I almost got into a fight with somebody because I misinterpreted one of y'all words. I thought he was calling me a nigger, but
what was he saying?
But he was saying knickers, like underwear. I said, yes. What'd you just say to me? I'll beat your motherfucking ass. And he's like, whoa, wait. He's like,
really?
wait.
Yes, we. No.
I know that word. I'm just like.
It was the way that he fucking said it, because we were. I was like, what'd you just say to me? It's like, are you trying to get knocked out? I got real heated because I was a much different person then, and I almost fought this man because of a misunderstanding. And I'm so glad that I didn't, man. I'm so glad that I didn't. Jesus, I was high.
Here's that new number. It's 011-899-88-1999-1197-253. That's the emergency services number.
Well, damn, I'm gonna be shot, stabbed, and raped by the time I dial all that shit.
If we're talking about,
I got a cool jingle to go along with it.
If we're talking about the English dialect, I need to tell you two about the Cockney rhyming slang.
Oh, that's that shit too. And then how people have to translate between. Okay, nobody speaks Welsh, right? Well, like barely any Welsh people speak Welsh, right? But like, anytime you find somebody who does, and they have to translate between the two, it's often like, what? What? Are you speaking English? Are you sure?
We also have this. We have different meanings in Cockney rhyming slang for the same goddamn word.
Yes. So they call them
away.
what, homonyms or
I'm about to
homophones?
consume cannabis, so I cannot have my firearm on me and also consume cannabis. That's not safe.
It's not safe.
So I put it in my safe.
It's dangerous.
Yep.
It's dangerous.
Like, put it this way: this is a legitimate sentence in Cockney rhyming slang.
Okay.
That bloke's a right pain in the April in Paris.
What?
What?
That bloke's the right pain in the April in Paris.
He's all 6s and 7s. Right?
I'm not joking. That bloke's a right pain in the April in Paris.
Right, because he's all 6s and 7s.
Yeah, he's all 6s and 7s. We're going across the apple and pear and go up the frog and toad, ain't we, mate?
What are you talking about?
Love it.
What's going
I
on?
love it.
I feel like my mind has been like sexually assaulted here. Me too.
We go there the apple and pear to go
completely
across
lost
the
here.
frog and toad. Mate,
Jesus.
mate. We're going down the frog and we're going down the apple and pear to go across the frog and toad to get ourselves a bottle of Guinness. Then we coming back and going up to go pop off to the old China, ain't we, mate?
Wait. What happened to a goose in the goddamn China shop? What
Funny. So, okay, Devil, you go look up the definition of 6s and 7s, right? And it's basic. It says it's an English idiom used to describe a condition of confusion or disarray.
You jump in the damn midway. I didn't even understand the first goddamn sentence.
It's because you saw what I said. It's used to describe a condition of confusion or disarray.
To give you the context of that first sentence, that bloke's a right pain in the April in Paris. April in Paris means arse.
Mm-hmm.
That literally just means that bloke's a right pain in the arse.
So why would you just say pain in the ass? Why you gotta go through all these jumps and hoops? Why you gotta do all this
translate.
I have no clue. And the other sentence I said was, we're going down the apple and pear stairs, so we're going down the stairs to go across the frog and toad road to get ourselves a glass of Guinness. Then we pop it back up to go up the apple and pear stairs to me old father Ted bed and old China. Ain't it, mate?
That is
in it.
Damn.
Yeah.
Welcome to English Dialects 101.
Jesus.
Ooh.
Oh man, that is just wild. I have another quick question for you about the UK. A very basic question. Something I want to know. Why is it that so many British people they appear to be very, very friendly, but they're also very, very short?
I take it you mean they're very easy to piss off.
Yeah.
No, just short in stature.
No, they're like it's like a few
How ridiculous
like
that would be.
if
That would
you
be
say
crazy,
like the wrong
wouldn't it?
thing to you, they will just they'll be nice as shit to you as long as you're nice and friendly. But the second
The same could be said for Americans. Come on.
no, I mean, but them though, the way that they go into like a freaking verbal frenzy, it is like no other dude.
See, I could give you the propaganda ties, or I can give you my personal experience way.
Go ahead.
The propaganda way is the funny way, which is, we are British, we are gentlemen and ladies of the crown. We must remain prim and proper at all times. But if someone dare disrespect you, you maintain the right to beat the piss out of them. Which is the propaganda way.
Okay.
My personal experience way is, and this happened to me quite a bit, and it also happened at school quite a bit. You would, if someone was polite to you, you would be polite to them. But a lot of the times you would find out that if someone was polite to you, but they didn't think highly of you, the moment you turn your back, they are talking shit about you to your best damn friend. Your best friend is just nodding along.
Yeah. There's some phrases here in the United States that are also meant to be polite, or rather meant to be exceptionally rude, but sound exceptionally polite.
Yeah,
Like "bless your heart," right?
yeah, it's
Anybody from the South says "bless your heart," I mean, that's licensed to just punch them in the face at that point. Like,
it's
really?
it's actually really funny because I remember a couple years ago I was talking to a friend of mine from America, and she would get angry at me. And I was like, why do you get angry at me? And she's like, why don't you emote? Where are your emotions?
I have emotions.
And I'm just like, I have
Who says I don't?
emotions. I have emotions, but I keep them tempered. And she's like, why? Why don't I ever see you freak out?
Do y'all argue over like dumb shit there? Like just dumb shit, like just like randomly?
We argue about everything. We are put it this way. We are in a country where it's rainy, it's dark, the weather is never right.
So
Okay.
basically,
And we argue.
it's Seattle, the country.
Yes. We
No.
complain about this, but then when the weather is right, we complain that it's too hot.
Oh, okay.
We always find stuff to complain about.
So real catty then.
Isn't it, everybody?
Yes, although truth be told, it's never without reason. Because I remember once talking about the weather here. I was going to the bank to make a deposit.
Mhm.
The day started off raining, and this all happened in one day. This all happened in the span of like an hour, actually.
Okay.
The day it was rainy, then it was sunny, then it was snowing, then it was raining again, then it was sunny, then it was snowy, then it was hailing, and then it finally decided to be raining.
Wow.
All within an hour, huh?
All of that happened in the span of an hour.
Okay.
Damn.
That is the British weather.
I mean, that's, you find a lot of people here in the States that say that kind of shit too. They'll say like, if you don't like the weather in such and such place, and you can go to different places, and they'll say it. They'll say it about their own place. Wait 10, 15 minutes. They'll say that a lot here too. Places where it's pretty consistent, though, it's usually consistently bad. Like, for example, let's say, oh, Seattle's always raining. It's always raining in Seattle. Yeah, okay, that's fine. But there's a lot more places that have more average rainfall annually than we do here.
Speaking of annual,
it's-
man, annual in terms of like a new year, what is your opinion? What do you think the UK's opinion is of Joe Biden?
Well, if I'm talking about the UK as a large,
Right.
for the most part, I would say the country seems to have accepted him. However, and this is also from me coming from England, being an actual British person, if I'm talking about England as a whole, I have to kind of separate it from the citizens,
Mhm.
the government of Parliament, and the royal family.
Right.
I have to separate those three things. Populace-wise, it's always going to be divided. So citizenry, I would say, from my own personal experience, more seem to support him than hate him or don't like him.
Okay.
Politicians-wise, I'm not too sure. However, royal family-wise, the Queen or the royal representatives may put on a brave face, but it's a proven track record that the royal family tend to get along better with Republican presidents than Democrat ones.
Huh.
Right.
Mhm.
So, what do you? Okay, so in terms of Donald Trump, do you think that his influence has spread to your particular country?
I don't believe so. Europe here in the UK, we are still dealing with the issue of Brexit. We've been dealing with it for like 3 bloody years, and it's finally coming to a close. And yet, I'm sad.
What side are you on it in terms of that particular?
You don't have to answer that question if you don't want to.
The Brexit discussion? No, I don't mind. In the beginning, when the referendum first came out, no one could give me a fair reason as to why we should leave the European Union.
Right.
I didn't know that much about the European Union at the why. No one could give me a proper reason. The one reason that a lot of people kept bringing up as to why we should leave the European Union was the argument of foreigners. Like, we'd finally have control of our own borders.
Yeah.
Which I guess you could probably say was due to Trump's. Actually, no, I don't think you could. I don't know. I don't fully remember. But I looked into it a little bit, and I don't know if this has changed or if I read the wrong source, but I remember reading something about how even though the UK was in the European Union or is in the European Union, we still maintained control over our own borders. So we could still decide who came in and who left. Although over recent years that seems to have changed. So that might not have been the case, but at least that's what I read. And then after the vote came in, because I voted to remain. I'm not ashamed to admit that I voted to remain. Then the vote came in, and the referendum was for the UK to leave the European Union. And my response was, okay, the people wanted to leave, so we're going to leave. Simple. But then, bear in mind, I didn't pay much attention to politics at the time. Like, I've always considered politics to be bullshit for quite a while. And then, after the referendum came in, you had a bunch of people who were protesting it. You had a bunch of people who were calling for a second referendum. You even had people in Parliament who were trying to stop it. You had the European Union who were trying to stop it. And this started to get me more and more into politics because my whole point was, why are you trying so hard to stop it? The people voted. It's what the people want. What are you doing?
Okay.
I mean, I get.
I mean,
get what
I'll
you're
agree with
saying.
you there.
I get what you're saying. I didn't want to like just jump in because I mean I didn't want to like cut you off or anything because you're kind of like going in there. But I kind of wanted to ask you because again I was very curious as to that particular issue because I have my own views of it, but I just don't feel like it's appropriate for me to even say anything because it's not my country.
Well, I've heard the same argument about a British person's opinion on American issues, yet here we are.
Right. So my view of it is I do think that it was partially about immigration, but I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. Because if some people are saying, hey, we need to vet some of these people that we're letting into this country, some of them are coming from countries that are not exactly friendly towards women, and we're seeing the results of that. Like, for example, if you go look at what's happening in Luton, I've heard the stories. Yeah. It's pretty bad.
Berlin, Hamburg, France recently, there's been a lot of bad apples flying around. But actually, coming up to that about the whole issue of immigration, there's been a lot of migrants crossing over the English Channel from France into England.
Right.
And the UK Navy, the Royal Navy, stepped in to stop them, to transport them back to France. And it was actually discovered that the dinghies and the craft that they were coming over to get into England across the channel were loaned to them by the fucking French.
Wow.
And as the Royal Navy was turning away these immigrants and moving them away, I believe it was Calais. I might be wrong, so don't quote me on this. But if I remember correctly, it was Calais. And the governor or whatever it was of Calais basically said, if you continue to do this, we shall take this as a threat of war.
Okay. We'll drop the people off and we'll keep the boats then.
I remember hearing that, and I was like, wait, what? I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, that's pretty wild. So, I'm guessing that immigration is a real hot button issue in Europe.
Yes, it really is. Well, it's also because Brexit has sort of started this domino effect. I don't think anyone expected Brexit to properly happen. I think they didn't expect the referendum to happen.
Can I ask you one question, and it's probably gonna make you say, "Oh, was it like the election of Donald Trump in 2016? That it was completely unexpected, no one saw it coming, and the same type of people who voted for Brexit are usually the same type of people who probably would have also liked Trump."
Probably, actually, I would probably say probably.
I figured that,
but. Yeah, Brexit has sort of started this domino effect because no one expected the referendum to happen.
Right.
No one expected it to properly go through because we've been at this for 3 years with everyone trying to stop it. There was actually a case of Parliament being so held up in bureaucratic red tape that the Queen herself had to step in and literally just go, all of you need to sort your shit out, get this done.
Right.
And now that's happened, Last time I looked into it, Italy is potentially thinking about leaving. France is potentially thinking about leaving. It started this domino effect of other countries within the EU talking about having their own referendums to get the fuck out.
So basically, I'm just curious, man. What do you think is going to be the end result of all this Brexit talk? Do you think that most European countries are going to take the same route as the UK, or do you think that the UK is going to be like alone in terms of having a Brexit?
If we're talking about Europe as a whole, Italy is already talking about it. France, as far as I'm aware, is talking about it.
I think Italy should probably not talk about it. They should probably let somebody else take the discussion because of the fascist past. They might not want to be the one making that argument. I'm just saying. Italy and Germany, y'all might want to shut the fuck up. I'm just saying.
Well, Italy is talking about leaving the EU, actually. They're talking about leaving. And
Really?
France
Why?
is talking about leaving the EU.
Why?
I don't really remember, actually. I didn't look into it. I remember coming across a news article as I loaded up Google once, and it talked about Italiexit, as I believe it was called, or Italexit.
And is it just me, or does Emmanuel Macron from freaking France, does he seem like a French Trump?
Let me actually bring it up very quickly. Here we go. This is from Wikipedia, so take it with a grain of salt. Italiexit, whose complete name is No Europe for Italy, or Italiexit with Paragon, not too sure, is a nationalist, Eurocentric political party in Italy. Its founder and leader is Gianluigi Paragon. I don't speak Italian. An Italian senator and former TV journalist who drew inspiration for his movement from Nigel Farage's Brexit Party with the aim of bringing Italy out of the European Union. That's what Wikipedia has to say about that. But if I go...
It just seems like it just seems like Europe's becoming more and more anti-immigrant. That's just why I just have to ask you that.
Well,
like,
speaking from personal experience, I had a friend who was actually a member of my family, an extended member of my family. He was basically part of the clan. And I don't mean that sort of clan just to be safe. But he was part of my family clan from way back. He was part of my family clan. And him and I had very different stances. He was fairly hard left. Like, he was fairly hard-leaning left.
right.
And me and him had an issue because he was for open immigration, whereas I believe I call it the sovereign state. I may be saying it wrong, but I believe that a country and its people have the right to do what they want with their own borders. It's their borders, it's their country. That's my stance on the thing. And he full-on disagreed with it because he's pure open immigration. There are those in the UK and in Europe, I'm sure, especially in Germany and countries like that, that are in favor of immigration. But I think, actually, now that I think about it, that probably is one of the main reasons for it, because the countries are fed up of having no control over their own borders.
Right.
That might be a simple view of it, but that's how it seems to be to me.
Right. I think that one of the biggest problems that people have with this is that these kind of conversations are not the conversations that they're actually heard. Is that people don't actually talk to each other, because again, I made the assumption that a lot of Europeans were particularly xenophobic, and I was worried that some of the xenophobia from Asia was spread into to some other countries until I actually started talking to at least some of the people. Because again, I think that you have some perceptions of certain things here in America based on what the media told you, and I had certain perceptions of the UK based on what the media told me. Until I actually go and talk to the people, and I realized that's a whole lot of bullshit that I was hearing. You know, it's a whole lot of bullshit.
Yeah, because there are people who are against immigration, and there are people who are for immigration, but that's true in every country. But I think there are some countries in the EU who are taking it to an extreme. Like especially Germany, who seem to be So for immigration, I have no idea what their full-on plan is. I have no idea what their plan is, truth be told.
I mean, some people just don't have a plan, you know.
That is true, but there are you do also hear
Germany is white guilt the country.
It pretty much is, but there's also there have been things that have happened because of it, like with what happened in Berlin and Hamburg on, I believe, if I remember correctly, New Year's, round about the end of the year on that thing, when there was basically gangs of immigrants going around violently raping people. And the German government came out and said, I think it was one of the chief of police of, I think it was the chief of police of Hamburg, I may be wrong in this, but one of them came out and flat out said, we were unprepared for the amount of calls that they were getting. Like, they were getting so many calls, the police of the city were just like, we have no idea what the fuck to do. And then you started hearing the stories out. You started hearing about the cover-ups that were happening. And there was one story, I don't believe if it was ever credited or not, so take it with a pinch of salt. There was a story that came out of a German woman who called in that she had been sexually assaulted, but her attacker was apparently an immigrant. But because she didn't want to be seen as racist, she claimed her attacker was a white German man.
Which is so dumb, because if they're going to look for the guy, how are they going to find him?
Well, the reason I say it's uncredited is because I don't know if it was ever confirmed or not. However, I am sort of leaning to the fact that it might be true, because I've seen, not sexual assaults happen, but I've seen similar things over here in England, where the police force will literally bend over backwards or kowtow themselves to try and appease minority groups or special interest groups such as Muslims or those of the Islamic faith. There's a picture that I read about of a picture and a article I read about where there were a group, they were talking about how the police, to conduct investigations in Muslim communities and Islamic communities in the UK, they had to get permission from the local Islamic leaders or something like that, just for the police to go in and do their jobs.
I think that like one of the major problems with this is that then what happens is the Muslims get unblamed. The Muslims can't control your government. The government did that. So what happens is, I think people then extrapolate that as Muslims caused this, so Muslims are the problem, and that's not the case. That's called your politicians made it like that. You know. Mm-hmm. So again, I also worry that so much focus is placed on immigrants and for a problem that doesn't seem to be like a major problem to me. Like how bad, like, again, can you at least tell me like some of the reasons why people are becoming more anti-immigrant in Europe, or just give me like your personal opinion. You don't have to answer, you know, but just what you think could be some of the reasons.
I think a lot of it has to do with the fact of, at least from my perspective, which might be wrong, I don't know, I don't speak for all of England, but from my perspective, at least in England, it seems to be that we want to make our own decisions, and we don't want the EU to basically be the puppet master with the strings. We want to make our own decisions.
Right.
If we want to let in immigrants, if we want to accept immigrants, we want to be the ones to decide that. If we don't want to allow immigrants in, or we want to restrict it a little bit, we also want to be the ones to decide that. I may be completely wrong, and that just might be my optimistic view of things. But to me, it sort of makes sense, because I feel a lot of blame does get passed to the immigrants for the immigration crisis, as it was labeled. But a lot of the blame, I feel, should also be directed at the EU, because it was the EU making decisions for the people's borders, whether the countries within the EU agree with it or not, which was one of the main reasons Brexit eventually happened as well.
Right.
Because we just got fed up.
Right. So do you think that it's possible that you have a situation where politicians send bombs to go bomb these people's countries, and then when these people have no homes and they have to go to other countries, these politicians don't particularly care, because it's not going to be their neighborhoods that they're going to live in. Do you think that is possible? That they're simply, if they would simply stop bombing these people, that they would have no need to go to different countries?
Honestly, I would say it is possible because war is a business. To a lot of people, war is a business. It's one of the biggest money makers throughout history.
So do you think that when we as a country, as America or Canada or France or the UK, when we go and bomb these countries, you know, we do it all willy freaking nilly, do you think that it's possible that we're literally creating the very problems that we are complaining about?
Yeah. Whether they're doing it maliciously or with intent, or they're doing it as an actual byproduct of, they're bombing these countries and they're not taking into account the possible consequences of the bombing, which I see as the least likely option, truth be told. But then again, I honestly don't know.
So, no, I'm not saying anything.
Oh, no,
I'm just asking questions now because
it is an interesting question, and honestly, considering how war is a business, and there are those with a vested interest in war, it's common business basically. If you have a vested interest in something and that something is making you money, you're going to try to keep that something going, whether it be oil, textiles, construction, or war.
let me ask you a question. If you have people who suddenly move into an area, a big influx, and those people have needs and wants, how much power would that give you if those people all became voters?
A lot, truth be told.
So do you think
Quite a bit.
Do you think the problem here is the Muslims, or do you think the problem is the politicians who are trying to manipulate things?
Isn't that the I might be using the wrong word, but isn't that the concept behind the indentured or the debted?
Right. You see, just because we ended slavery doesn't mean that we don't use the exact same tactics.
I mean, in some ways, in some ways, slavery isn't even ended.
No, it's not. The freaking 13th Amendment.
There is modern slavery that is still going on, and I mean legitimate slavery as well. I read an article, I think about a year ago, where there was a I forget where it was. If I remember, let me actually bring it up before I say anything, because I feel like I'm gonna piss someone off if I get this wrong. Let me have a look. I want to make sure I got this right, because I feel like I'm going to piss someone off if I get this wrong.
Even if you're just a little off, it's not a big deal, because guess what, man? It's been a nice civil conversation. I appreciate this. I've learned a lot about the UK here that I was wrong about. You know? I thought I knew a whole lot about it, but apparently I didn't.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
and I'm open to being corrected. I mean, okay. if I don't fucking know shit, go ahead, Sky. Sorry. Sky.
Sorry. What's up?
I was saying like you were. What I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have much to say. Obviously, I live in the United States. The only time I've ever been to Europe was in Ireland and Germany. So, for me, there's a lot of perceptions. I mean, the reason why I think that everybody is on about immigration is the perception of the lack of the ability for them to receive justice for the wrongs that have been committed against them, if any indeed have been committed. Right, and I'm not saying that they haven't. Of course, there's. I mean, we saw it when we were in Afghanistan. I mean, there's definitely communities there where they do certain things that normally we would say, you probably shouldn't be doing that. Like raping little boys and then killing them afterwards because they don't have any family. Like, you probably shouldn't be doing that. And that's not just specific like cults. It's kind of like really ingrained into some parts of their society where it's appropriate to do this thing because that's how they roll themselves, right? It's crazy. Can't be done about it. And then all these people, their shit gets bombed, their government's trying to kill them, they leave, which is fine. It's what I would do. Hell, I mean, my government was trying to kill me, I'd probably leave if I could. Like, and I'm not talking about like how they do it here in the United States. I'm saying like if I was in Iraq and Syria and that shit was going on, I'd probably want to try and leave too. Not least which because that place just kind of sucks anyway. It's way too fucking hot. Then they go to other countries, and then the perception is, and I know I've heard this perception here from other people. They would say stuff like, they want Sharia law to be in place. I don't want Sharia law to be in place. We should stop these people from coming here so that they don't put Sharia law in place. And it's like, okay, I don't really know what to say to that. If most of the people want Sharia law to be in place, then that's kind of what's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, if I always had a problem with that theory. It's like, so you mean tell me that in just a few times, it's just like a short time, people are gonna want Sharia law in the UK? Like, it's like if that could happen that quickly, maybe the foundations of your country ain't that quickly, or people come over here. And it's almost the exact same story in America. You have people here who are saying things like, "I don't want these damn Mexicans here." Well, then end the goddamn drug war, because that's how the coyotes are operating. That's how they're freaking funding it. Well, I don't want to end the drug war. Well, then you're literally creating the people that you are creating the problem that you're freaking complaining about. It's the exact same issue.
I feel like there's a video I need to show you two, actually. Have you two heard of Yuri Bezmenov?
Have not. Tell me more. I'm very interested now.
He's an ex-KGB operative who's specialized in destabilization. Specifically destabilization of countries.
Right.
And he did this interview, I think in the 80s, where he talked about how the Soviet Union would go about destabilizing a country. There's a whole video of it with the interview. Let me see if I can find it, the quick snippets of it.
Okay.
Because he brings up a lot of points that are, in my personal opinion, very chilling when you hear about. Let's see, where is it? Give me a moment while I find this.
Right. I'm just it seems like a revolving pattern. No matter what country you go to, the country will create the problem and then blame the people that are affected by the problem, and then all of a sudden the people become the problem. It's just like a revolving. Wow, man! It just seems like, because I was hoping to hear something different about the UK, but when you started saying some of the things that you're saying, it's like, you mean tell me it's exactly the same, man? Come on.
Alright, I believe this is the right video. I don't know if you want me to post it somewhere, because it is on YouTube. Actually, it's on YouTube. It's Yuri Bezmenov interview 1984.
Yuri Bezmenov.
Here,
Okay.
I'll post it here. There you go.
Right, cool. Let me go ahead and bring it up on screen. I'll try to how long is it?
This is the video that's only about 6 minutes.
6 minutes. Okay. What does he say?
There's an entire interview that's like 2 hours long.
Is it in the main hall chatting?
I put it in the comments on the live stream.
Live stream. Okay, cool. That works. All right. Yuri, that's definitely not happening. I've been through college. Oh yeah. I think I know exactly what you're talking about as well. I think I know exactly what you're talking about. Let me go ahead and. I think I remember this particular video. I haven't seen it, though. Let me I got a new tab.
Yeah, this is the 6 minutes and 49 seconds one.
Okay. Let me make sure I open this up real quick. All right. Oops. Nope. That's not the right tab. New tab. All right. Let's bring up a new tab. Let's go ahead and just go to YouTube real quick. All right. Let's go to YouTube. Let's get ready to get tortured. Oh man, this is about to be like a mind fuck.
Potentially.
Creepy.
Depends on how you see it. You could listen to him and say that's not happening at all, or perhaps it might change. It's all personal opinion.
All personal opinion. Let's see. Let's see. All right.
But-
So Yuri Brez, is it BR what? Bezmenovs.
Yeah, Bezmenov.
Okay, Bezmenov. Okay, cool. Gotcha. Sounds like his name will have an R in it, but it's just like B. Know your history. Okay, so let's see. Understand the political scenario. India, Canadian. Okay, is that the one?
The KGB defector Yuri Bezmenov's warning to America in 1984.
Okay. I'm looking.
It's 6 minutes and 49 seconds long. You might have to scroll down a bit.
Okay. Warning to America?
Yep, KGB defector Yuri Bezmenov's warning to America in 1984.
Okay, here we go. All right. Let me go ahead and I'm going to show this on my screen real quick. Let me come on. Open up. Okay. Let me train something up real quick. So that way everybody can see it. Okay. All right. So I'm going to share my screen for you guys. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Come on. I hate Discord. It wants to be slow whenever you're streaming. But any other time, it wants to be like, hey, I'm going to give you notifications every 2 seconds. Do you want a notification every 2 seconds? No, I don't. Would you like a notification every 2? Fuck. Leave me alone. You want a notification? No, bitch. Shit. God damn. Fuck me.
Do you want a notification?
No.
Bitch, it's like 4 in the morning.
Notification? Leave me alone, you cunt. Like, go do something. Discord, man.
I have a baseball bat. Shut up.
Discord is awful, man. Discord loves to do crazy.
Discord has become the new alarm clock.
Yeah. That, and so when people call me on Skype, like, they'll call me, like, back to back, and it's like, doom, doom, doom. Oh, fuck. Oh, my head. It was so awful, but, all right. I don't even know. I'm trying to get my screen to share, but it's not sharing for me. I want to try to show this thing on my screen, but it's not really showing it for me. Come on. Screw it. Let me go ahead and just switch over the input. All right, so I'm just gonna go ahead and show this then. All right, so what I'm gonna show is a video of Yuri Brezhnev. Hopefully, you guys have a link to the stream.
I mean, I'm watching it right now.
Okay.
Yep, I'm also watching.
It's loading though. It's for me. It's lagging a little bit.
Lagging. I'm
Oof.
looking at it. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. It looks pretty open to me right now. Hopefully. What in the world?
The audio is there, it's just the video isn't. Like, the audio is up to date, but the video's lagging a little bit.
Video's like, okay. Well, that's unfortunate. Wow, that's really unfortunate. But let's go ahead and see here. I'm gonna go ahead and slow it down. Then I'm gonna switch up to another scene real quick. And I want, because I do want to watch this. So
Yeah.
it looks pretty interesting.
Like, you live in America and I don't, so you might have a completely different opinion of it than I do. Which is something I'm actually curious to see.
I mean, it might. I might have a different opinion, and I might not. It depends on how it looks, man. How it looks. If it looks crazy, I'll say it. If it don't look crazy, but again, I don't have any reason to like doubt it though. I mean, like I'm just not seeing so far, like from what I've heard about it, and I've heard a lot about it, and I've heard Joe Rogan mention it. It doesn't seem like he's, full of shit or anything. It's just, I'm very, very worried about these Russian guys. Because, again, like, you don't know if they're telling the truth or not. You just don't know. And
it's good to be skeptical. I've always said it's good to be skeptical.
That's the problem, man. That's the real problem with this. So let me see. All right, so let me go ahead and play this real quick.
Mr. Bezmenov was born in 1939 in a suburb of Moscow. He was the son of the subject of Soviet.
What it basically means process.
So
which we call either ideological subversion or active measures, активные мероприятия in the language of the KGB, or psychological warfare. What it basically means is to change the perception of reality
I'm gonna go.
of every American to such an extent that despite of the abundance of information, no one is able to come to sensible conclusions in the interests of defending themselves, their families, their community,
Right.
their country. It's a great brainwashing process which goes very slow, and it's divided in four basic stages. The first one being demoralization. It takes from 15 to 20 years to demoralize a nation. Why that many years? Because this is the minimum number of years which requires to educate one generation of students in the country exposed to the ideology of the enemy. In other words, Marxism-Leninism ideology is being pumped into the soft heads of at least 3 generations of American students without being challenged or counterbalanced by the basic values of Americanism, American patriotism. The demoralization process in the United States is basically completed already. For the last 25 years. Actually, it's overfulfilled because demoralization now reaches such areas where previously not even Comrade Andropov and all his experts would even dream of such a tremendous success. Most of it is done by Americans to Americans, thanks to lack of moral standards. As I mentioned before, exposure to true information does not matter anymore. A person who was demoralized is unable to assess true information. The facts tell nothing to him. Even if I shower him with information, with authentic proof, with documents, with pictures, even if I take him by force to the Soviet Union and show him concentration camp, he will refuse to believe it until he is going to receive a kick in his fat bottom. When a military boot crashes his balls, then he will understand, but not before that. That's the tragic of the situation of demoralization. The next stage is destabilization. This time, subverter does not care about your ideas and the patterns of your consumption. Whether you eat junk food and get fat and flabby, it doesn't matter anymore. This time, and it takes only from 2 to 5 years to destabilize a nation, what matters is essentials: economy, foreign relations, defense systems. And you can see it quite clearly that in some areas, in such sensitive areas as defense and economy, the influence of Marxist-Leninist ideas in the United States is absolutely fantastic. I could never believe it 14 years ago when I landed in this part of the world that the process will go that fast. The next stage, of course, is crisis. It may take only up to 6 weeks to bring a country to the verge of crisis. You can see it in Central America now. And after crisis, with a violent change of power, structure, and economy, you have so-called the period of normalization. It may last indefinitely. Normalization is a cynical expression borrowed from Soviet propaganda. When the Soviet tanks moved into Czechoslovakia in '68, Comrade Brezhnev said, "Now the situation in brotherly Czechoslovakia is normalized." This is what will happen in the United States if you allow all these schmucks to bring the country to crisis, to promise people all kind of goodies and the paradise on earth, to destabilize your economy, to eliminate the principle of free market competition, and to put a big brother government in Washington, D.C., with benevolent dictators like Walter Mondale, who will promise lots of things, never mind whether the promises are fulfillable or not. Your leftists in the United States, all these professors and all these beautiful civil rights defenders, they are instrumental in the process of the subversion only to destabilize the nation. When their job is completed, they are not needed anymore. They know too much. Some of them, when they get disillusioned, when they see that Marxist-Leninists come to power, obviously they get offended. They think that they will come to power. That will never happen, of course. They will be lined up against the wall and shot. But they may turn into the most bitter enemies of Marxist-Leninists when they come to power. And that's what happened in Nicaragua. You remember most of these former Marxist-Leninists were either put to prison or one of them split, and now he's working against Sandinistas. It happened in Grenada when Maurice Bishop was already a Marxist. He was executed by a new Marxist who was more Marxist than this Marxist. Same happened in Afghanistan when first there was Taraki, he was killed by Amin, then Amin was killed by Babrak Karmal with the help of KGB. Same happened in Bangladesh when Mujibur Rahman.
I'm gonna say it is very compelling. It's compelling. I mean, if you say that's not compelling, you know, you're lying. That is compelling. You know, that is very interesting. That, you know, he said all these things, and it was just the confidence in which he said it. But that could also pose a problem in of itself. The confidence in which he said it, it could also show that he's probably a fake. But, you know, again, if true, it would explain a lot. Yeah.
Well, that's the whole thing. The purpose of me showing you that video wasn't even for me to convince you of anything. It was simply because this guy said it in the 80s, 1984.
Right.
And yet, if you listen to what he's saying, whether you believe him or not, a lot of what he's saying, it rings a little true, whether you believe him or not.
Right. The issue with what I heard was that he then goes into history, but that's the problem, is that how much of this is true and how much is this just a guy repeating history because it happens in every country.
There is the old saying of those who don't remember history are doomed to repeat it.
That's true.
And I don't know if this happened in America, actually. I don't know if this happened in America. You'll have to let me know. But in the UK, there have been movements to not necessarily censor history, but tone down history.
It's been usually the exact opposite problem. Usually it's just, you know, people on the right tell people on the left to stop talking about slavery so much. So it's usually not the problem. The problem is like when you start getting like Confederate statues, that kind of stuff, like we want to pull that kind of shit down. But it's never like an erasure of history. It's usually the problem of a rewriting of history.
Yeah, tell you what, you brought up the statues being torn down. There was a statue over here of a philanthropist in Bristol being torn down.
Right.
You know a philanthropist, right? Someone who's very charitable.
Right.
He was very charitable in the fact you could very easily say he built up the city of Bristol. A lot of the buildings and such in Bristol are named after him. And he was a known slave owner. He was a known slave trader. So there were a lot of complaints about his statue. There were a lot of people who sent in complaints to the council to get that statue removed. That statue didn't get removed. So around the time BLM tried to take root, or a little bit after, they tore it down. And they dumped it in the canal.
Wow.
And this was an old statue, by the way. This was an old statue.
Why?
And
why would you do that, though? It's so weird.
They tore it down and they dumped it in the canal. The council fished it up out of the canal, and now I think it's on display at a museum. Oh. And funnily enough, and this just speaks to my British sense of humor. You've probably heard that the British have a dark sense of humor. We do,
right.
Because there was a statue of one of the BLM leaders over here in England that was put in its place, a bust of her. And a few days or a week or so later, that statue got defaced. And they received an order to take it down by the council because they didn't have permission to put the statue up.
Right. Yeah, I know everything over there is like super duper proper, and that's so annoying. Oh, I actually watched Count Dankler, and I heard about the case of that one guy who was building a freaking bungalow, and the government kept messing with him. And it's that was pretty crazy. It's like, you don't have a right to build on your own fucking property. I paid for this shit. Leave me the fuck alone, man, you assholes.
That is how bad it genuinely is. But it gets even worse. In that case, I could sympathize, because there had been complaints for quite a long while about this guy and his statue. There were a lot of people who complained they wanted his statue to remove. Nothing had been done. I didn't agree with their methods, but I could sympathize, because they did complain about it.
Right.
Then, in London, they deface the statue of Winston Churchill, claiming he was a sexist and a racist.
Wow. So
And go on.
no, I'm just out of curiosity, man. Like, so do you think that some of the fervor for us tearing down statues over here, do you think that that's carried over to the UK?
Oh, definitely. Not so much anymore. Like, it's calmed down quite a bit over here. But what got me, when they did it to... Here's the thing that interested me, well, thinking back on it. When they tore down the statue of the guy in Bristol, I was sympathetic to them. I didn't agree with their methods, but I was sympathetic. Then they went after Churchill, and I was pissed. In my head, I was like, why the fuck are you going after Churchill? Why?
I mean,
And
Information, the facts.
do you think that that people should ever say anything negative about Winston Churchill? Do you think that Winston Churchill was a racist, as some people accuse him of being?
oh yeah, they have the right to say it. I will never stop them from saying it. I just don't agree with them vandalizing his statue.
Right,
But that's also interesting, because if you remember, I said I sympathized with what they did to the statue of the guy in Bristol. I didn't agree with their methods, but I sympathized with it. However, when it was Winston Churchill, who, as far as I am aware, his statue didn't receive any complaints and such, they just defaced it, my reaction was anger. Not anger because they had the right, they could complain about it. It was the fact that they defaced him and accused him of all these things.
Right. Okay. I get the difference. That
And
makes a lot of
then-
sense.
Yeah, and then they did it to another statue, and instead of being angry about this third statue, I found it funny. Like, at this point, I wasn't sympathizing with them, I wasn't angry at them, I legit found it funny as to why they were doing this. Do you want to know what the statue was that they went after, that I found funny?
Which one?
Mahatma Gandhi.
Oh God.
They went after Gandhi.
Well, if you're actually being proper, if you're going to talk about racist, Gandhi said some stuff now.
Yes, he did. I actually looked into it, because I was like, why? I was like, why would you go after Gandhi?
And then you
So I
read what
looked
Gandhi
into it.
said, yeah.
I looked into it, and it did admit in his younger days he did have some very controversial views of black people.
Ooh, that's an understatement.
Yeah.
Yes.
However, it also says that as he got older, his views changed.
Listen,
as he got
some
older.
of the things that he said, man, listen. Woo-hoo. He sounded worse than some of the white supremacists, man. I gotta be honest with you. He was pretty intense.
Well, that's the thing. Isn't it interesting, though, how the perception of someone, even after they're long gone, can be so set in stone? Like, when you think about Mahatma Gandhi, what's the first thing that comes to your mind when you think of Gandhi?
Hungry man who fought for human rights. That's what you think of. You don't never think.
Yeah, that's the
you don't never think hardcore racist, right?
Yeah, that's the first thing that came to my mind. When I heard they went after Gandhi, my first thought was, wait a minute, they're going after the guy who went on hunger strike to oppose the British occupation. What?
Well,
And then
I'm gonna tell you, man. People, if they were to look into the history of some of their heroes, they might not like what they see. I absolutely still support Martin Luther King, even though I'm very much pro LGBT. But Martin Luther King is anti-LGBT. He says he was a Southern Baptist preacher from the damn 60s. You know how he felt about them gay people. That's no question.
And then I looked into Gandhi. It said, what I read basically said that as he grew older, his views changed. And there was something that I read that I was like, Gandhi, you're kind of making it difficult for me to defend you, man. Because, Gandhi was celibate, right?
Right.
Gandhi had always claimed that he was celibate.
Right.
And this was the thing that I read. And it's very spicy. So, he slept naked in a bed with, if I remember correctly, his very young niece. To test his celibacy. And I read that and I was like, Gandhi, you're making it very difficult for me to defend.
I'm gonna just listen. I'm gonna lay naked with your moms, man. I just want to test to see if I got the power to hold back. Don't worry, I'm not gonna dick her down. I promise you. Gandhi,
I read that. I was like, Gandhi,
Gandhi said some shit. Like, if you actually look at some of Gandhi quotes, that motherfucker. I don't know about that motherfucker, man.
This is why I don't actually like it when people demonize people in history. If people have done terrible things in history, by all means hate them, but I would argue that you have to kind of look into them almost. Like how they got to that point. Or why they became the way they are.
Yeah, I just have a problem when people start worshiping shit. Like for example, you got people in my country who's like, I want to keep this Confederate flag up. And it's like, why? Well, because it's my heritage, it's my history. Well, then put it in the fucking museum. I have no problem with you putting it up there. I just don't want to fucking like pay for it. Shit, I just don't want to pay for it. Like I think, hey, you know what? I want a statue of my damn dick at damn City Hall. That's what I want. Are you gonna build that shit? It's my fucking heritage, all right? It's my heritage. It's my dick. I want no City Hall.
Okay, talking about that, and this is just because I don't have a Confederate flag flying in my back garden. I have we have a Brexit flag and we have a Black Country flag in the garden. If someone from the South were to purchase a flagpole on property they owned, put it up, and raise the Confederacy flag, would there be a problem with that? If it's on their land, they pay for it with their own money. No tax.
There would be no issue. In fact, you have the right to do that. You can display most anything that you want, unless it's extremely extreme. Like, for example, if it's like if you are like, for example,
the KKK flag.
No. Oh no. You can absolutely have that too. You could literally burn a cross in certain parts of the country. You can burn a cross. You can say I hate N-words. I hate all. You can do that. You have the free speech to do that here. It can be as extreme as you want it. Like, for example, with Halloween like decorations. You have the free speech to design your entire house like a fucking murder scene. You can legally do that. In fact, if you didn't see me on camera, that gun that you saw me bring out, it's you can open carry that here. Like, I literally walk outside and walk right past the cops with that gun on me. Ladies like no. And so pretty much that's how it is here. You could have, and in fact, people wear Confederate flag shirts all the time. In fact, I'm in Washington State, right, and I'm in a place called I'm visiting. This is actually a spot called Lakewood, and Lakewood is known as Chocolate City to Washington State, and so pretty much it's mostly black people, but you have people here who live in apartments, and they put up Trump signs right in their freaking apartments, and nobody messes with them because it's just so common here.
I hate my brain.
Yeah, seriously, that is you. I live in a state called South Carolina for 30 years. When I tell you there's literal Klan members there who show up on camera, if you go to Google right now, type in South Carolina KKK, you will see the videos. They literally show up in public all the time. I don't doubt
it. There's a guy I watched a couple months back. I believe his name is Daryl Davis. Mm-hmm. Who goes around talking to members of the KKK, and if you say he goes around rehabilitating them, he will deny it. He basically says he just shows them a different path, and it's up to them to walk down it.
Right.
And he wants to create a museum dedicated to the history of it, because he's collecting all their robes and their clan memorabilia and such.
Well, he seems like a really nice guy, you know, that people actually like.
He is.
Yeah. So, but I am curious though. So, do you find that the idea of open carrying a gun to be so oh my God, are you serious?
Not really.
No.
Because I honestly wish we had something like the Second Amendment here in the UK, or at least some proper way to defend ourselves, because England banned guns, right?
Right.
Guns are banned in England. Everyone knows that.
Right.
However, that didn't stop most of the crime, because people just switched from guns to knives. and then they switch from knives to acid.
All right, so we have a new subscriber, Don Bad. Jeez. All right. Don Bad joined the channel. I'm sorry about that, man. It's just on the channel. He just blew me off completely. Hello? Oops. I think Discord just went down on me. Uh-oh. I think Discord went down on me. Uh-oh. That's no bueno. Let's get Discord back up. All right, there we go. Hey man, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Welcome back.
Apologize for that. Man.
No worries.
My Discord decided to say and blow up. So.
No worries. Yeah, like I was saying, they banned guns, and then if I remember correctly, gun crime was already on the decline. If I remember right. But they banned guns, so people switched from guns to knives, and then they still use knives. They use fucking machetes out here and cleavers and shit. But they're also using acid now, like legitimate acid.
Wow.
And I'm just like, no matter how many restrictions you put on people, if someone wants to hurt someone and hurt them badly, they're gonna fight to do it.
Yeah.
And they don't care if they have the right to do it or the legality to do it.
Right,
they're gonna do it.
Right. So if you could have a gun, man, what kind of gun would you get, homie?
I have no clue. Because I'm English, I don't know that.
You want like a pistol? You want a pistol? You want a shotgun? You want an AR-15? You want a bolt action rifle? You want like a submachine gun? What you want?
Honestly, probably just a handgun, just so I could have that sense of security. I probably wouldn't even use it. I just want, the handgun. I would just want that security. Because I'm going to tell you this. I often don't go to sleep until the crack of dawn. I am known as a vampire. And I have heard many noises out in the night, and my dog will bark at anything. And I get so paranoid at some nights. If my dog starts barking really bad and she starts staring at the window to the garden, I have legit done this. I have grabbed my torch, I have grabbed a knife from the kitchen, and I have gone outside holding a knife just in case.
I hear you, man. I hear. Hey, did they actually ban knives in London? Like I've been hearing about that. Tell me more.
I don't fully know. I'd have to double check. I definitely heard something about it, that they were trying to ban knives. I believe it even got to the case where they were trying to ban certain cutlery knives, like steak knives and such. If I remember right.
I thought that was Sadiq Khan in London. I thought.
Yeah, that's definitely London, but I don't think anything came about it.
Okay, good.
I don't believe anything came about it.
To me. That sounds fucking insane.
But even then, even if he made it illegal, one, the criminals aren't going to give a shit, and two, he's already got people committing acid attacks.
Yeah. I think that what's going on in Europe is a big old mess, man. That's again, I can't talk too much shit because I'm in America, and we just had a fucking game show president. I can't talk no shit about Europe. You guys, honestly, tell you the truth, compared to us in the past couple of years, you've been having your shit together much more compared to us. I gotta say. Compared to us, it's been pretty. I mean, we have our Second Amendment, we have our First Amendment, but man, you have people here who are such bootlickers, man. I mean, I know for a fact that people in your country would die to have the rights that we have, but people here are just willing to like give it up, and this is so unbelievable.
Well, I mean, just look at the example I gave you. By all rights and purposes, what I'm doing is illegal, but it was almost that instinctual need of, I need that security. I need to leave somebody. If someone's out there and they're hostile, I ain't meeting them with just my fist.
Right. Well, man, you should come by America, man. I'll take you by a shooting range, man. We'll go and we'll make a fucking day out of it, man. But you should consider it, because honestly, I think you make a great fucking American. You should consider it. Just make the fucking move, man.
Believe me, if I moved to America, I would have a lot of people who'd want to see me because I have a good amount of friends in America.
Yeah, do it, man. I mean, hey, man, live your best life, man. If you know that you want to be a pretty proud gun owner, why wait, man? Just right now, the world's on fucking pause right now. You have nothing to lose by doing that shit.
It's not even the fact that I would like to own a gun. It's that instinctual need to have security. It's that instinctual need of, if I get into trouble and there's a fight, I have something to defend myself. Right. Something I can have myself, and I don't have to worry about it being taken away from me.
Right. Well. Then I would say make the move, man. You know, cause you only got one life, man. You ain't getting no younger.
Mm-hmm.
Make that move,
Actually,
man.
funny story about that. This is just a random historical fact.
Right.
I want to say medieval Germany, it was illegal for people to carry swords, like the proper long swords and stuff.
Right.
So what they did was they created knife swords.
Right. I mean,
it wasn't illegal to carry a knife, so they created knife swords. So when the police would walk up to them, they would be like, "Sir, you cannot carry that. That is a sword. Technically, sir, it is a knife."
Well, in America, we have something very, very similar that we do. So you have the AR-15, right, the long gun. Mm-hmm. And then you have what is called an AR pistol, and it's basically the same fucking thing, except it is shorter and it's within a certain length. So it's considered a pistol and not a rifle. Let me show you what I mean by that. I'm gonna switch the input real quick, and it's gonna you be like, what the fuck? It is that retarded. Like, I'm gonna look it up real quick. And it is quite precious. It is quite precious.
But it's like, you are right. There are a lot of people over here in England that would die to have even a hint of some of the rights you guys have over there in America.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Like, put it this way. Speech has become so damn restrictive in England that you have to be careful what jokes you say, otherwise you're going to end up in fucking prison.
All right. AR-15, see, AR-15, AR pistol. Gosh, this thing's being so slow right now. Okay, here we go. Cool. So I'm running Streamlabs and all kind of stuff in the background. So I'm trying to be a little patient with my baby here. Okay, so if you can see the screen, so as you can see, right? I think I can get a good pistol. Oh wait, no, that's perfect right there. Right there. So up top is an AR pistol, and up the bottom is an AR-15. There's no fucking difference between the two, right? Wait a
minute. The top barrel, one's the pistol.
Right. That's considered a pistol because of the fucking length. And the backside of it is called a stabilizing brace, right? So it's not actually a stock. It's a stabilizing brace. So you're not supposed to put it. You're not supposed to like shoulder carry it. It's supposed to be like a stabilizing brace to hold kind of like a pistol. So they consider that a pistol because, I mean, so basically, any gun can be any caliber depending on how you fucking chamber it, right? Because that fucking pistol grip there is literally a pistol grip. This is not a rifle grip. That's a pistol grip. You put on a pistol. All they did, like, okay, if you ever played that one game called Homefront.
Yes, I played the first one.
Have you seen the way that the guy like makes the fucking weapons?
I remember it lightly. Yes. I remember it a little bit.
You see how he takes like the base stock and the base pistol grip and puts the upper receiver on it, and it's pretty much like any goddamn caliber.
Yeah.
That's how it works. And so people here. Wait. So the next point is what you got to understand. People here don't fucking understand that is just everything that you're seeing there is strictly cosmetic. If I strip that down, that is a Ruger Mini 14. Let me show you what a Ruger Mini 14 looks like. And you're gonna be like, what the fuck? But it looks it doesn't look anything like an AR-15, but is the exact same fucking rifle. It's the exact that right there. It's the exact same rifle.
You are right. I'm saying
that right
what
there.
The fuck?
The one that you see like up top right there, the fucking wooden one, fires the exact same way as the bottom one. The exact same way. Exact same caliber, exact same power. The funniest part about it is that the difference between the AR pistol and the AR-15 is not only the price, but on top of that, because this is considered a pistol, if you are in a state that says, hell, we banned the AR-15, you can open carry an AR pistol because it's considered a goddamn pistol. Now, if you really want to get funny with it, if you want to look up something, let's look up the AR-12. It's an AR-15 / shotgun. This is one of my favorite versions of AR-15. So the AR-15 platform, it is so modular that you can chamber this shit in any goddamn caliber. This is an AR-15 / shotgun. Let me show you one of my favorite ones. Where's that sexy bitch that makes me horny every time I see her? Oh God, I just want to. Seriously, this is one sexy bitch right here. I think I might buy her, but this right here is only $550 right here. 12 gauge AR-12, baby. AR-12. Imagine that for home defense. Oh my God, imagine that for home defense. Yeah. And then you got shit like that right there. Do you see this right here? The Arrow AR-12. Tell me that's not a bad bitch. Tell me that's not a Resident Evil gun, bro. Hold on.
It really is a Resident Evil
Look
gun.
at that bitch, bro. You can legally buy this. If you come to America, you can legally buy that. And it's all yours. No questions asked. Now, granted, ammunition is going to be tough to find here, but depending on like the caliber. Yeah.
You know the first thing in my head was?
What?
Humanity. We're always going to find a way around it.
Let me show you something else too. Something that's actually legal here. Let me see. 590 Shockwave. Let me see. Yeah, Shockwave. This is the legal version of the sawed-off shotgun that we sell here. It's actually legal here to have a sawed-off shotgun. So because there it is. That is the Mossberg 590 Shockwave. That is a sawed-off shotgun, and it has about the same amount of fucking power. Now let me show you the premium version of it. This is a breech handle. It's just made for breaching doors. You see that right there?
Yeah.
Now, that is how it looks from the front end.